So thrilled and grateful to be part of the Women Impact Summit. Thank you for asking me to present my project. So my name is Laurel Ann Stark. I am the founder of Resurjo.co. Resurjo.co is the very first web app designed to support self-employed women to succeed. Our algorithm is based on over 4 years of research into the obstacles that self-employed women face. And last September, we published the very first report that's ever been done on the state of mental health for entrepreneurial women. This report, where we analyzed over 200 independent studies to find out specifically what stands in the way of self-employed women to succeed and do well both in life and in business. So Resurjo is a fairly new company, but we saw a need in the marketplace for supporting self-employed women in a holistic way. We found that most of the business supports out there treat us like we're tiny men, and we are much more complicated than that. So what we're doing at Resurjo is breaking down the barrier between the professional support and the business support that we receive and the personal support, and bringing it all together. So we just finished crowdfunding, and in 35 days, we were able to raise just about $14,000 Canadian in pre-orders with backers, with supporters, etc. Our research has been featured in Forbes magazine, TechCrunch UK, and we're very, very pleased to be able to be releasing the beta in just a few months. We're hoping to be able to get the very first beta out in spring. So what we're looking for is assistance with development. We are looking for a CTO. My background is as a business and marketing consultant. I have been in the technology industry since 2003, but of course we're looking for support in that way. So our 7 core features that we will be releasing are designed to support self-employed women to overcome 3 of the 4 main barriers that we experience as self-employed women. Now, of course, there's many more than that, but we want to focus on 3 and do it very well. The first is isolation. So isolation is problematic for self-employed women because typically we have smaller businesses. Sometimes, more often, we work from home, often with children and balancing the work and home life. And we don't have access to the social capital that our male counterparts have. And social capital is critical for our business success. We need to know the right people. We need to have mentors. We need to know a lot of other self-employed women so we get introductions to the right people. And also isolation is problematic from a mental health perspective. When we feel lonely, when we feel alone in our struggle, it impacts our ability to perform as well as be healthy. So Resurjo connects every single user in 3 different ways. The very first way is we partner you up with an accountability partner that you meet with once a week, so you have one-on-one support. Then you are plugged into a performance pod where you meet with a small group of women that are on your team every single week, again, providing that support, but more of in a community style. Our groups, our performance pods are sort of support groups, masterminds, as well as networking groups as well. And then we offer the ability to access affordable therapy if you do need an escalated level of support. The second obstacle that self-employed women experience that we are addressing with Resurjo is overwhelm. Now, our research shows that self-employed women typically work an additional 2.5 hours a day in the home doing domestic labor. And as a result, we are very overwhelmed. We have a lot to do. We also have a lot of time that we spend taking care of elders and children, et cetera. So we have actually designed stress-busting games to help self-employed women prioritize and to relieve stress and figure out how to better manage their day. So it's a productivity tool as well. We also have stress-busting games to let off steam and assist with downtime and managing stress better. And then the third obstacle that self-employed women experience is the impact of gender-based obstacles. Now, what I found in my 17 years of self-employment consulting with thousands of women is that often we're dealing with things like the aftermath of trauma from assault and violence that is so common. Over 70% of women have experienced violence from an intimate partner, usually, whether it's physical or sexual abuse. Over 50% of women have been harassed. And support with these types of issues is absolutely critical in order to be able to succeed in business. The aftermath can really impact our mental health. So with that, we do provide affordable therapy, as well as the last thing is mini skills training. So 1-minute training tips to help you with develop all the skills you need to be as a leader. So the idea is that it's everything you need, always available in your hand for less than the price of a manicure. It's, again, the very first web app ever designed and released specifically to support self-employed women. It's by self-employed women for self-employed women. And for more information, please go to resurjo.co. We would love to see you on there. You can also download our research at resurjo.co. If you have any questions, you can find us. We are all over social media, and we very much look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you so much.
Birth Black Centering. We are a new innovative group model of perinatal care, that's prenatal and postpartum care, developed by, for, and with Black birthing people. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to share our project here at the summit. We right now in the United States are in a state of crisis when it comes to Black birthing outcomes. We are experiencing, as Black birthing people, high levels of preventable morbidity and mortality as a result of racism. And we are desperately in need of solutions to address this problem, to address the racism-based disparities in birth outcomes. We have our Black birthing mothers, Black birthing people, 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than other birthing people. And in some areas of the country, that disparity is even larger. We have our Black babies much more likely to be born premature, to not make it to their first birthday. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath that is all of the morbidity, all of the near misses, and all of the traumatic experiences, the experiences of disrespect, the experiences of discrimination, of bias. And we really need models of care that can celebrate and honor Black birthing people and Black community and Black families, and really center dignity and our humanity. And so that's what our program aims to do. We are a passionate group of Black birth workers. I myself, as program coordinator, am a midwife, but we also, our team is inclusive of lactation consultants, family support advocates with our public health department, doulas, obstetricians. We are a interdisciplinary team assembled to really provide a gold package of care that is rooted in the frameworks of birth justice and is explicitly anti-racist, designed to be able to remedy the problem of racism-based disparities in birth outcomes. What we know has an impact to improve these outcomes is a few things, and we've taken those 3 things and made them into this one gold package. One of those things is racial concordance, meaning that the care providers are the same race as those being cared for. There is a large body of research demonstrating that this improves the quality of care, this improves the experience of care and of health outcomes. And this research spans across different areas of medicine and of health. So racial concordance, that's why we are a team that is by, for, and with Black people. Another thing that we know has a huge impact is centering pregnancy group model of care. So we are utilizing that centering pregnancy framework, but we are innovating it with these added characteristics. But we know that centering also has a large body of research that demonstrates that it has the power to really improve health outcomes, including lowering rates of preterm birth, lowering rates of stress, improving the experience of care for pregnant people, and also improving rates of breastfeeding success, which is also another area where there's a large racism-based disparity there. So centering is a great intervention for anybody, but particularly for Black birthing people. The research actually demonstrates that centering group care has an even bigger impact for Black birthing people than for others. But what hasn't been done is the Black centering care. So adding that with the racial concordance. And then another piece that we know has a huge impact is the wraparound social support. So our program really is all about making our care a one-stop shop of all of the kind of wraparound social services, referrals, and supports that our Black birthing people need in order to deal with the fact that we are living in communities that are really impacted by structural racism. The impacts of structural racism in our communities result in under-resourced communities, result in food deserts, result in all kinds of impacts that make it harder for us to be healthy in our communities, to access nutritious foods, and really that structural racism produces areas, things you can, zip codes you can see on a map, where we know that rates of, for example, preterm birth and the other outcomes we're looking at are a lot higher. As midwife Jenny Joseph in Florida calls these areas, that they're maternotoxic zones. So we know here where I am, our program's in East Oakland, California. We are in the hotbed of a maternotoxic zone. So our program includes a lot of wraparound services from our family support advocates to be able to make sure that our group participants get everything that they need to be able to thrive in pregnancy and in their postpartum recovery. We have also innovated this into a telehealth model to adapt to COVID-19. We launched October 1st, and we are really happy with what we've been able to do. Our program is virtual on Zoom for the time being, as long as social distancing is in place. We have built a whole online program home for our group participants on a platform called Mighty Networks, which is an online course and community building tool. And this portal allows our group participants not only access their Zoom link for their group visits, but also to have access to tailor-made, special for them, childbirth education made by us, their team. It's anti-racist, it's birth justice inspired. And so all of that's there for them. Also, it has a social media feed. So it's their way to stay connected to each other 24/7. And so that really helps them to be able to build out community in that way. So that's what we're doing. We are innovating every day. We are growing and adapting. And we really, really would love to have support from our broader community. We've got a lot we want to do to make this program meet the needs of the community. So please follow us on social media at Be Black Centering. I'll put the handle there in the chat. And our website is just about to drop. It's going to be on Alameda Health Systems website. And so we'll have a lot of information there for you to learn more about the program. But again, I'm Jaisha Wren, midwife with Alameda Health System, Oakland, California. And our program is Beloved Birth, Black Centering, Group Perinatal Care by, for, with Black people in collaboration with our Public Health Department, Alameda County Public Health Department. So I'm going to go ahead and drop our handle, and thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that presentation, and thank you so much for including me in your summit today. My name is Natalie Martin. I'm founder of the Swim Global Project. My platform focuses on drowning prevention and drowning initiatives worldwide, looking at water safety as a public health pandemic. We know that right now there are 500,000 people that die from drowning year after year, and that is only from the data that's being collected. Children under the age of 5 are at risk of drowning as the #1 risk for that age group. So my platform, Swim Global Project, works with different agencies and organizations to really bring awareness to communities all over the world. Right now, of course, the Swim Global Project isn't able to travel, but I have been able to do some mobilization virtually. We're doing research as well in Uganda, doing some work with the Bahamas in order to incorporate environmental education as well as swimming education. Swimming is such an important life skill, and through the Swim Global Project, my hope is that education and swimming is available to all. We know that there are many barriers worldwide, including in North America, that prevent people from learning how to swim, whether it's a financial barrier, whether it's a cultural barrier. So through the Swim Global Project, my hope is that we can reduce those barriers and bring people back to the water and provide them with water safety education. What I am going to do, because I have a short video I wanted to present, I'm going to share my screen just to give you an idea of the types of projects the Swim Global Project has partnered with and done. So I'm going to share my screen. See if I can find let's see here. Okay. All right. I'm not sure if you're able to see my screen. No, probably not yet. I was just hoping that I could get a YouTube video on here. Well, perhaps what I'll do, doesn't seem, I think I need someone to approve my screen share. We can share, okay, perfect. We'll do that. So here is the link to my video of some of the work that I've done with organizations in the Caribbean as well as in Central and South America. We've been in places like Venezuela, Dominican Republic, the Bahamas. Like I said, we're doing work right now with Uganda. And the platform of the Swim Global Project is really to enhance awareness, bring advocacy to regions where, drowning prevention, education is not available or limited, and then also to bring awareness. I'm actually located in Miami. Florida has the highest drowning rate in the United States, so I'm also working with other local agencies and government and private enterprises to really increase awareness so that that education can be given firsthand to parents and can be given to families that don't necessarily think of swimming as a dangerous activity, but they think of swimming as a recreational fun activity. And we hear too often on the news of a child or young adult drowning because one, they didn't understand their limits, and two, perhaps lack of supervision when children are in the water. So my platform, the Swim Global Project, is also working with local advocates and activists. I have an event being held next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find that on my website. It's called Wade in the Water, Drowning in Racism. And the focus of that event is bringing forward filmmaker director who produced a documentary on how swimming became a barrier for African American people in the United States and how that affected generational inability to access swimming. So that event is going to be happening next Wednesday. So as you can see, the Swim Global Project is there to bring people the awareness that is required, the education that is required, and to really bring together organizations and agencies, not only from a recreation or from a health perspective, but from other angles. We had a midwife here just present, so we're working with hospitals and medical groups and different groups of people that have an impact in their community. So that is the Swim Global Project. I hope you'll visit my website. Check out the link I sent you. It is our YouTube video of just an example of the type of project that I bring forward. So thank you so much for having me.
I hope so. I'm really happy to be following all the amazing women that spoke before me. As for the audience, I have a question for you. What if I told you that you can build and launch your app idea in just a few weeks for a quarter of the price? What will change in your life right now? Hi, I'm Cisa Yesus. I'm from the Philippines, an immigrant to Canada, and a certified woman of color in tech, so I understand what it's like from many angles. I'm also one of the captains at Design Off the Boat. Design Off the Boat is an all-women crew for all women founders. Our goal is to help you, Capitanas, share your tech ideas to save the world by building smarter with design thinking, faster with design sprints, and better with no code. We are also a borderless team from across the seas, so there's really nothing stopping us from working with you wherever you are. We help you navigate through the design and technical storms and barriers, equipping you with everything you need to get started on your journey as a founder, one that is working towards creating more good in the world. The world is on a deadline. It's 2030, and we have 10 years. We have 10 years to save the world, and there is a framework to do just that. It's called the UN SDGs. The Sustainable Development Goals are calling us to be truly inclusive, work smarter, build faster, and respond sooner. Our world is sinking. Response time is key, and women are being called to lead. And why wouldn't they call on women? We're amazing at getting things done the right way. But what is our framework? We specialize in product design sprints for social impact tech, and we build with no code. This framework allows social impact founders to focus on learning, sustainability, and improving product instead of scrambling for design and technical know-how and co-founders. Design thinking improves inclusivity, and design sprints can speed up a startup's product design process. No-code tools eliminate the technical barriers of time and cost, so you can test, validate, launch, and get to your customers faster. We work with social entrepreneurs with the goal of accelerating the time to impact of tech solutions for social good. This is probably where you are right now. You have an idea. You need to learn the soft skills, leadership, entrepreneurship, problem-solving, sales, marketing, strategy. Even if your idea is not a tech idea, it will most likely have a tech piece, websites, communications, databases to make use of what you learn from your customers, points of sale, and that means you need two things, design skills and technology skills, and the talented people to bring that. But you're also strapped for cash, and you probably don't have as much time as you'd like. But this is what working with us looks like. We spend a few hours on design thinking, 1 week rapid prototyping and testing with design sprints, and just a few weeks of building to launch without hiring an expensive software development team for an idea that you haven't even proven to work yet. But we've also been able to launch in way less time. This is Stuck, an app that we built to create data visualizations from crowdsourced maps and stats on Canadians stuck in the Philippines during the start of COVID-19. I was one of them. This took us 3 days from idea to deployment with real users, and we were able to collect and visualize real data. This is the Feminist Enterprise Commons. It's a hub for feminist entrepreneurs online. We were able to build and launch this online business school in just 3 weeks. And this is Needs List, a crisis management platform that began with 3-hour design sprints. The product ended up being a winner in the North Carolina Tech Awards in the Tech for Good category. So what do we want to happen? We want more women founders and more women in tech. We've created a program to help foster this ecosystem, and we'd like you to invite us into your communities and empower those who are willing to learn. Most recently, we gave a workshop at Cooperaton, the largest open innovation competition in the world with 2,000 participants. We shared how to build better MVPs for the SDGs by designing more inclusive solutions, teaching them how to build products in less time with higher impact, and how to conduct user tests remotely, which is particularly important in our social distance climate. We do believe in ecosystems, and that means we need your help. One, we need your big ideas. You don't have to be a capitana without a crew. Allow us the opportunity to co-create with you and the talented women of our product design collective. And if you want to join our collective as a builder, please let us know. But more importantly, we are looking for sponsors for skill building. We want to reach more underrepresented communities and make sure that they have the technical means to access the program. A lot of our teams are in remote areas, and even internet access is a little bit fuzzy. So please reach out to us if you have a community in mind or even a humble offer. But now that you know that there is really nothing stopping you from building your idea, what will you change in your life right now? And if you figure that out, please let me know. Thank you so much to the Women of Impact Summit for putting this together. And once again, my name is Sisa from Design Off the Boat. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Our website is designofftheboat.com, that's OFF. And follow me on Twitter at StickySisa. Please drop us a line, and we can't wait to rock your boat.
Hi everyone, I'm Sandra Roman from Spain, and I'm here to introduce you to my first documentary feature film, bold women. And first, I will share you our teaser project.
Hi, Sandra. Just to let you know that we cannot hear your video. If you want, why don't you post the link on the chat so we can share with everyone? Thank you.
Okay. This was our teaser. This documentary, Bold Women, is a documentary that talks about alopecia. Bold women exist, and just as they are about men, but women hide it and they suffer a huge discrimination. I know well because my mother has alopecia, and like her, all women in the world have thought that they were the unique ones. And I asked myself two questions. Why is it so unknown, and who is interested in keeping the taboo? In this documentary, I will follow the daily lives of amazing bold women who have managed to transform the alopecia into the greatest gift. They are women who have managed to feel free and who are an example to all women, bald or not, because all of us, we are enslaved by our looks. All protagonists have overcoming stories about the process, and they will talk about grief, the loss of their identity, social and labor discrimination, harmful and expensive treatments, and moreover, it will be a sacred space of information for all those who have alopecia or who will start with this process. The narrative thread of the film will be a performance dance based on the status of alopecia, from grief, concealing, loneliness, to reach freedom. This will be created and performed by a bold woman. This dance will be a metaphorical journey with, which will narrate the experience of female alopecia throughout movements and different spaces. And now Maltica Producciones, the production company, and I, we are searching for funds and co-production partners to reach our budget of 150,000 euros. By now, we've been awarded into festivals, one in Portugal and here in Spain, to be the best documentary project. And it's so important to understand that it doesn't matter where you are. There is a bold woman near you who needs this documentary, a woman who doesn't have to feel alone anymore. And this is why we also need distribution or sales agents, because just as alopecia is, this movie has to be international. So this documentary is important because every day another woman in this world is starting with this condition, alone and so misinformed. And for the first time, female baldness will be in the spotlight, and we have a unique opportunity to do that and to put an end on the taboo. So it will be amazing if you join us, or you could help us. So thank you, and thank you to the summit. And it's a pity about the teaser and the sound of the teaser, but I will put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for the Women Impact Summit, and Maika from Eroica, and with a special thanks to Awe, where we've been luckily selected for the course in Valencia. And that's why we had the opportunity to present our project today with you all. I'm Sophie, co-founder of Better by Letter, and I will try to present you our project with our pitch that is not as well presented as the other one. So I try to do something that works. I would like you to close for a few seconds your eyes and remember the feeling you had when you open your mailbox and see a letter for someone you care about. We know it doesn't happen that often, but I'm sure you feel surprised at first, and then you'll feel joy and happiness. Letters have this kind of magic that makes us feel happy. They travel times and city and carry on a lot of feelings, news, stories. And once they arrive at their destination, they give us a great moment, instant connection with the person who sent it, and they live forever in our treasure box. But in our current society, communication runs a lot through apps, and we've lost the ability of communicate through our letters, and plus a lot of person feels almost lonely in their life. So that's why we think of creating the Better by Letter packs, and we try to help people to reconnect in a meaningful way thanks to original and design packs that contains everything needed to write letters and make snail mail trendy and cool again. We produce our pack locally in Valencia, and we collaborate with a lot of artists for our postcards and stickers, and everything is based on high quality stationery standards for paper lovers. You can have a look at them on our online shop at betterbyletter.co. I will post the shop in the link. I'm not sure I can do like an unboxing right now because I'm not sure you will see quite well with my lights are a little bit dark. And right now we are at the very early stage of our project. We're seeking for partners to help us to grow properly our business and to launch a platform that will help to create a community and a positive movement based on the handwritten letters benefits. And last but not least, we really strongly aim to have a social impact on our local community in creating job opportunities for women that they are in a risk of social exclusion, and make them participate in the packs production and the distribution process. So remember, a letter is a gift, and if you don't have time to write letters and send letters, you can always buy a Better by Letter pack and as an original stationery gift for someone. Many thanks for your time, and long live handwritten letters. Bye.
Thank you to all our women entrepreneurs, and thank you for presenting your projects and your ideas. And now I have the pleasure and the honor to introduce to all of you a dear friend and colleague of mine, Jessica Pastor, that she's gonna share during this workshop, design thinking for changing times. And Jessica, please enlighten us. How are you doing? No, we cannot hear you. You're muted.
Here we go. Hi.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, now I hear you. They are all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maika. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Awe, Eroica, and Women Impact Summit for inviting me. It's such a pleasure. You know, I have an unconditional love to everything you guys do. So today I will be walking you through the design thinking process that can help us navigate these uncertain and crazy times. During the next 20 minutes or so, I will be walking you through the process and providing practical examples on how and some certain tips that you can follow. This is a quick index on the things that we will be covering. We heard a lot from Lisa, from Cisa, about design thinking, but what is it exactly? We will also talk about creativity as a tool to navigate ambiguity. I will give you 3 top qualities that a creative leader should have, some examples and a little bit about the process. And then I will introduce something called the anti-fragile. And at the end will be just a quick recap. So I know this is a lot to take. It's design thinking in steroids. So please just feel free to reach out. So before I start, I would like to give you a little bit of context about myself and what I do for a living. For those who don't know what an industrial designer does, I became an independent designer over a year ago. And Aero is one of my main clients. We designed this type of new airline where folks can fly in a semi-private style with only 16 passengers. And we decided to launch this airline on the middle of the pandemic. So lots of learnings. Turns out that there is a terrible time to be a big carrier like American Airlines or United, but it is a perfect to form a new type of airline, and as mighty as Aero is. Before Aero, I used to work on a very wide range of projects and challenges, from Boeing interiors to smart window systems that have light and act as a lighting fixture at night, far-fetched cars that drive themselves and they're electric and so on, to a first mass-produced smart jacket for Levi's and Google. A voting booth also that was making voting accessible for, to everyone, and so on. And you may think, well, all these projects have nothing in common. If it wasn't because what all these projects have is that they require to get a deep understanding behind the user's needs. So that is exactly what design thinking is about. It is not an exclusive property of designers. All great innovators in literature, art, music, science, engineering, business have practiced it. So why do we call it design thinking? What's special about this process is that we as designers work with processes that can help everyone systematically extract, teach, learn, and apply all these human-centered techniques to solve problems in a creative way, in our businesses, for our countries, or for our lives. So this is the definition of design thinking itself. Has a human center at its core and encourages organizations to focus on the person or the people who they are creating for instead of only on the business. So next time you sit down to create a solution for a business need, the very first question you should always ask is, what's the human need behind it? And this is how I will summarize how it looks, how the process looks. It's very messy, and it's a wild ride, and very noisy. And the research, it's very dense. You probably have to navigate uncertainty, understand the client needs, understand the user needs, and slowly brush those things until you start concepting, you prototype, and finally you get the clarity and the focus of your design. So the ability to navigate ambiguity and to guide people and organizations without knowing what's ahead, it is a key leadership quality of our time. Because in today's world, almost nothing is certain, and technological change is drastic and rapid. Volatility grips politics and the economy and the future of healthcare and education are in question. So as much as we would like to have one quick solution and fix for everything, the reality is that solutions are a moving target and no leader possesses silver bullet. But creativity can help. So according to the World Economic Forum, creativity is among the top 3 skills needed to thrive in 2020, along with other capabilities infused with the human touch, like complex problem solving and critical thinking. So in a world where challenges have no magic solution, leaders must get comfortable with not having an answer and lean towards the unknown, and establishing leadership styles that incorporate many perspectives, sustain optimism, and perseveres through ambiguity. So I will leave you some of these books that I recommend. Some of them are this creative confidence. It's from Tom Kelly and David Kelly, who were the founders of the company I had the pleasure to work for at IDEO. We call this approach creative leadership, right? And the term is very well known in academic circles, but only recently has gained some traction. So creative leaders take conditions that are anxiety provoking for many and turn them into opportunities. Now we are seeing that creative leaders can spark change in any industry or any team, from manufacturing to marketing, finance, or food. So really applicable to every discipline and every industry. So what are those qualities that equip leaders to leverage ambiguity and drive progress? How do they show up to their daily work and push their companies forward? The very first characteristic is that a creative leader convenes diverse groups and rallies them around tangible goals. So we have to remember that no one single point of view will hold the answer to a complex problem. For instance, at IDEO, only multidisciplinary teams will group. Like a medical doctor, an engineer, and a UX designer may be the perfect combo for to answer complex problems for a healthcare client. The second will be that curiosity, it's at the core of creativity. So creative leaders navigate ambiguity with curiosity. So as designers, we have to defer judgment constantly and often forget what we know, and all those preconceived notions, leave them aside to learn new ways of thinking in the world. That's why traveling is so important. So staying positive. The third one is that creative leaders have to be always optimistic and fiercely optimistic and maintain that momentum. So, but staying positive doesn't mean that you have to be happy all the time. That's not what I mean here. It means that even during hard days, you know that there are better ones ahead. And here they are, the 3 key tactics that creative leaders should employ. As we say, the first one is to build diverse and multidisciplinary teams to maximize those perspectives. The second is to navigate ambiguity with bold ideas. And the third one is to maintain that forward momentum with empathy and inspiration. And you may say, okay, Jessica, this all sounds lovely, but we are in the middle of a pandemic. And how can we apply all these concepts to it? Well, I'm here to remind you that we already went through this and that, that we should learn from it. That's it. I don't know if you can see these images of all these kids in the school. And if you can look closer, I don't know if you will notice anything odd, but in 1932, around all main European cities, from Paris to Birmingham, Amsterdam, and Berlin, schools had huge windows or even these collapsible walls. They were known as open air schools or schools anti-tuberculosis. They were designed to protect towards infectious disease like tuberculosis itself. So institutions especially designed these to fight a pandemic that was brutal during the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. So for decades, the only thing we knew about the tuberculosis is that the bacteria was infectious, that could survive in dark and dusty spots, and that sun, open air, and rest were the cure for the patients. So, sorry, here you can see this screen. So this is why design thinking was helpful. And you can see here Le Corbusier and all famous architects and designers from this era started designing houses and hospitals with very big windows, and sanatoriums with terraces and aerodynamic furniture where dust will not gather, will not settle. So eventually, this is how modern architecture was born. And I think this is a great example on how, since always, pandemics shape our cities. This is an image from a sanatorium in Finland. And when we understood better the virus, the focus switched towards understanding that the houses were the ones that were quote unquote sick. So architects start applying these new principles and applying these aseptic colors and these forms, designing towards open spaces, and architecture suddenly became an instrument of healing. So hopefully you can see how powerful this is. Another great example for today's situation, today's pandemic, is that this image here is from a post-COVID neighborhood. It is already under construction in China, and it was designed by a Spaniard. His name is Vicente Guayart, and it is a self-sufficient neighborhood. There will be laboratories ready to generate anything or everything we need, from face masks to food or energy. So we don't need to even leave our communities and our neighborhoods. So it's a great example on how design thinking was applied and moved forward to something better. So I want you to remember, after all this, that this scribble and this messy process is not linear, and that the struggle is part of the process. And putting it in a better way, this is how the process should look like. I want you to understand that it's a circular process, and then you can always come back to get some feedback from a previous phase. So if we go from the outer circle to the inner circle, the very first phase is to understand what the issue that we are trying to address. Then the second will be to explore and then materialize. So if we go to the very first step, is to conduct the research, and empathy is a very big part of this phase. From there, we move to define the problem and observe where our user problems exist. Then we move to the ideation part and generate crazy and diverse ideas. So we go for quantity and not quality. We move towards prototyping and build physical, some tactile representation of what our concepts will be. And then from there, we move to test. And if we need to return to redefine, we go to redefine, move forward to ideate and prototype again and test, okay? And then from there, the last phase will be to implement it. Now that we know a little bit about design thinking, I wanted you to introduce a new concept that is called the anti-fragile. So I would like to propose this new, fresh attitude that will help us navigate these turbulent times. So the anti-fragile as an attitude will help us embark into what design thinking is about with fresh eyes. So anti-fragility is beyond resilience or robustness. The resilient resists shocks and stays the same, but the anti-fragile gets better. So this is a concept that Nassim Taleb develop, and that this attitude is applied by one of my favorite designers. Her name is Patricia Urquiola. She's originally from Galicia, and she has a very explosive personality, and she established herself in Milan many years ago. It's very well acclaimed by the entire industry. And she states that in life, big obstacles and issues are the ones that create and allow us to develop harmonious flows. So that's the translation of this Spanish phrase, our Spanish quote I put here. Here's the book that Taleb has, and I highly recommend it to you too. So Patricia believes that this is the perfect moment to become anti-fragile. It's the perfect opportunity to put this in practice. And the idea is that the robust person, as we explained before, always absorbs the shock and stays exactly as is. But on the other hand, the anti-fragile person gets nourished and grows to improve through the chaos. It is during these periods of difficult times when we must have an attitude where we are beyond resilient and take that inertia of the moment to modify, grow, and evolve with this intention. So this is the end of the presentation. I just wanted to put a quick recap of what I covered. A future leader and is a creative leader. So remember that a creative leader is not, it doesn't avoid change. It's about turning vulnerability and complexity into assets and even leveraging them as tools for speed. So while it can be unsettling to dive headfirst into the unknown, modern leaders must build the creative confidence needed to navigate uncertain times with and for their teams. So their agility and positive look generates a feedback loop that keeps everyone moving forward with a sense of possibility about what's to come and how they can shape it. So with a creative leader, an ambiguous and a messy situation can be the perfect moment for a change, and it will help the organization take a future and push it forward. So I wanted to thank IDOU, the university from IDEO Online, and also the graphics from Amrita Marino and Sunny Yazdani. So thank you for all the support, and please don't be a stranger. Feel free to ping me, shoot me a line on my email or on LinkedIn. I will be happy to support or help. Thank you.
Jessica, thank you so much for enlightening us and for this awesome presentation. I know now that the key word from this year is anti-fragile, and we're gonna get it tattooed in the back of our head. Thank you so much.
I think if we have a few minutes for any questions, or we can also leave it to the chat. However, you
we
think
have 3 minutes. Any good questions here?
Yes. Okay, it seems like Nivedita has a question.
Yeah.
Yes. How to generate ideas? Is that a question? Well, how to generate ideas, it's something that you can always start with a brainstorming. As I was mentioning previously, it's very important to gather the right people around the table and always try to get as many perspectives as possible. So it's something that no one has the answer for a complex problem. So it's very important to get different perspectives, different points of view, a multidisciplinary team, and then from there you brainstorm ideas. That's another chapter. I will be more than happy to help you if you need some links on how to proceed with the brainstorming. It's something that it's important to do it right, so you get something out of it.
Great, Jessica. We're gonna go on a break. Thank you so much for
Of course, my pleasure.
And we're going to post all your information also on the website. You can leave it also on the chat. And we will be back in 10 minutes.